Diary of a Wimpy Kid 3 Dog Days. This is, welcome back to my Diary of a Wimpy Kid series and lead up to the newest animated film coming out, I believe, December the 8th. Next week, we will be talking about Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, and very excited to talk about all these movies with you guys. So, I've actually never seen this one, so this will be a new one to watch next week. But yeah, the third one. So this is the only one I actually saw in theaters. I didn't see the fourth one at all. And the first two, I was a little too young. And also, I don't even remember the second one coming out. I know the first one came out. But I don't remember much about that either. So this is the first one I was old enough to see in theaters. I was probably in 6th grade at the time when this one came out. Or at least 5th grade, somewhere in there. I was getting to that point where it was kind of like Greg's age within the first movie. I was almost there, you know. And I really enjoyed this movie in the theaters. And then a few years ago, I rewatched it and I didn't like it as much because I noticed something, and that's Greg's voice. It was very squeaky, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized, oh shit, now I understand why. But I went back to it and really enjoyed it immensely other times. So I don't know. That's just kind of my experience with this movie. My actual, perspective on it now has changed quite a bit. I think when the first time I really watched it, and the last couple times I've watched this movie, I did really wonder why they didn't make more of these movies. And then now that I'm older, I understand the obvious. Greg's voice was really squeaky when I rewatched that one time because he's going through puberty and becoming a man, and his voice is just destroyed. Out of all the cast in this movie, Greg's voice was destroyed the most through puberty. He's a good, and that's no discredit to the actor. I'm just saying, you can see it in this movie. And then it's also like this movie, all the actors were growing up. They couldn't really make another. I think they could have maybe squeezed out one more, but I feel like all the actors, man, it would have been like, listen, I'm like 20 something now. I don't really want to come back and keep doing this and pretending to be a high schooler, middle schooler, because these are characters are supposed to be middle schoolers, and now they're almost adults. They're not even high schoolers; they're adults now, pretty much. So, that's part of the charm of these movies is that kid cast, and if that kid cast grows up too much, it makes the whole thing not work. So I understand why this was the last one. I think this movie does a good job at being the last movie, though, because I feel like the other movies, Greg isn't really likable. He's kind of a dick. The second one less so, but I feel like this one you understand his dynamic the most. His dad doesn't really quite get him. He's lying about stuff, but you understand why he's lying. I don't feel like any of his lies in this scenario were meant to be malicious, unlike in the first movie or the second movie. I feel like this one, well, I guess the second one, I don't know, maybe the second one's the one where he's most likable, now that I think about it. But still, I think he's really a lot more likable in this one than the first one, at least. And it works really well. And then Steve Zahn is a great standout in these movies. And, he gets a lot of moments to shine as that dad. The moment when he's, like, unplugging the TV, and he's like, who's laughing now? I'm not laughing, it's Laugher. Like, the way Steve Zahn delivers that line is so funny. And it's just really good. There's a lot of great moments like that. So, all in all, I think this is a really strong finale to the series. If they really were like, yeah, we can't really make more. But also, I think the reason they went the reboot route, didn't go the reboot route with this one is because there's so many other books they didn't adapt. Trying to recast the kids honestly was probably the best angle, but from what I understand, they didn't do a great job, so we'll see. We'll talk about that next week on the YouTubes. So